conference play-in tournament as well. And it was Dylan, Smitty, that really helped to set the pace on both ends of the floor for this team.
Well, you talk about grit and grind. He could have played with that grit and grind team, Sam. I love the way he came out and competed. He scored the basketball, but he showed emotion. But more importantly, he made it very difficult for DeMar DeRozan. He was all over him, pressuring him up 94 feet like he was a guard. He was in attack mode. He knocked down some shots. What I loved about him, he went 4 for 4 from the free throw line, rebounded, 3 assists. But more importantly, he was the energy and the engine for the Memphis Grizzlies, along with Jonas Valanciunas, who had 23 and 23.
I'm still trying to – you played in San Antonio. Have you ever seen the Spurs play like this? One pass, one-on-one, 5 dribbles per player. They didn't move the ball.
At all.
Only 19 assists. This is unlike the San Antonio Spurs. Look, Coach Pop can look at this team and say they overachieved this year by even making it this far when you look at their talent. But when you look at this San Antonio team, it's not the team I recognize. Look, second, they need a center. And they need a point guard. Listen to what I'm saying. DeMar DeRozan is not a point guard. He had a fantastic season. But you saw Dylan Brooks pick him up 94 feet, and it changed the game. And when you look at JV, Jonas Valanciunas, his rebounding, his clogging up the middle was unbelievable. But DeMar DeRozan, when he put his head tonight, Smitty, on the pillow tonight, he's going to have nightmares because he had some great looks. I know Dylan Brooks played great defense, but he got to his spots early in the game. And when he started missing them free throw line jump shots, you could see, and he started short-arming those shots, that pressure started mounting, and he just started pressing because they just started taking bad shots. They played – I didn't recognize San Antonio Spurs tonight. They didn't play Spurs basketball. Therefore, it ain't that Memphis did something so great. If you score 105 points against Memphis, you win the game.
He did finish with 20 points, but Smitty, he was only 5 of 21 from the field.
Yeah, he struggled. I mean, because he wasn't getting easy looks. I think for him is – Sam said that he started pressing, but nobody was getting him some easy looks coming off curls, and they couldn't get any fast break points. One thing also watching the San Antonio Spurs, me and Sam looked at it, watched it, and talked about it. It was no movement, no execution, bad shots. Looking around, said, this is not the San Antonio Spurs. And their young guys are not that young. I mean, you look at them, yes, they have some guys, but I thought Pop also waited a little bit too long to bring in those veterans like Rudy Gay and Patty Mills because they got them back in the game. The biggest lead for Memphis was 21.
Memphis was blowing them out of
climbed back in there. Yeah. And that second quarter, it didn't look good. And I thought Taylor Jenkins waited a little bit too long to get Jonas back in that game. He'd have to play more than minutes. He'd have to play almost the whole game.
Don't you think Memphis was lucky to win this game? Because San Antonio played the worst game I've seen them play in years. DeMar DeRozan, who is an excellent player, is very efficient. He played awful. Yeah, Dylan Brooks played some good defense, but you go back and look at the shots. DeMar DeRozan missed a lot of open 15 and 17-foot jump shots. So San Antonio, when they lay their head tonight on the pillow, they're going to think about the only thing they really did well tonight was make free throws. Other than that, no assist, no ball movement, very poor defense at times. Why are you going over the top on Ja Morant when he doesn't shoot jump shots, and when you go over the top, you're dropping your big, and he's getting downhill with a running start with a live dribble on a big guy that can't move his feet. So, again, very unlike San Antonio.
And you made an important point, Coach, in that the team has been too good to build through the draft, but perhaps not quite good enough to attract talent that wants to win a
worse situation to be, Christian.
So where do you go from here?
They're going to have to look. They're going to get another draft pick. It's going to be probably after 10. They got to attract some free agents. They need some players, man. Look, I would bring back DeMar DeRozan, but what DeMar DeRozan was asked to do this year was unreal. He was basically the point guard. And I love Dejounte Murray and all those young guys. But, man, they better get into the lab and start working on their jump shot because they were laying some bricks tonight. I mean, we're talking about the San Antonio Spurs. Normally good three-point shooting, great ball movement, late into the shot clock, they're still moving the ball to get great shots. That's who the San Antonio Spurs is. They make you play defense for 22 seconds. They didn't do that tonight. A lot of passes, one shot, a lot of dribble, not going anywhere. I just didn't recognize this team. And look, if they would have played a little like the San Antonio Spurs, they could have won this game tonight. But give Memphis credit. They played harder. They played D. And they made some plays at the end of the game when they had to make them.
Which of those notable free agents, Smitty, would you try to invest in moving forward?
Well, DeMar DeRozan is one of those guys, if he wants to be there, and he fits San Antonio. But I'm with Sam. They got to find some other talent. They have too many of the same light guys, and I think for them is they got to find somebody that's a big, and yes, they got rid of LaMarcus Aldridge, but they have to go out, and they're going to have to do a job of they're going to have to track some guys that come and maybe overpay a little bit to get some talent in San Antonio. Because right now, this team right now is you don't know the direction of what kind of style you can play. Today, he started off with 4 smalls and Jakob Poeltl, and that was tough because they had no size. And Valanciunas, he had 12 and 9 in the first quarter, even though he ended up with 23 and 23. That first quarter, he had 12 and 9.
Let's talk a little bit more about what he did, because when I first looked at the box score, I thought that perhaps there was a typo in that 23 and 23, coach, is what he finished with, and he was dominant in the paint.
Do you see these clips? Like, it was a man against boys. He physically whipped everybody San Antonio put out there. He just beat them up. He just out-physicaled them. And when you look at it, he dominated the glass. And early in the game, they had a 20-point-plus lead. They take Valanciunas out. Smith and I sitting there. You better get him back in, because he sets that high screen and roll. And he rolls down the paint, and he says something. Who's going to move it? He's just finding the open spots. Here he is again on a high screen and roll. Watch him just find them open spots and set up. And even if he don't get it past, look at him crash the glass. You can't move him. Here he is against Porter right here on the block. Now watch this move when he faces him up right here. He sees where the defense wants to come, but as he bagged him down, JV with the turnaround jump shot, a la Hakeem, and here he is right here, reading the defense, finding the open spot, and guess what happened? Air ball, no problem. It was just a pass for me to get a rebound and a 2. So JV was a man among boards. And again, one thing, if I'm San Antonio Smith, I'll take away from this, I have a glaring need. I now know without a doubt what positions I need to fill going into this year's draft and free agency.
Where do you think the Grizzlies match up well with their potential next game in this play-in tournament?
Well, I think for them is I don't know if they match it well. I think I would say the size.
Where could they have an advantage?
The size against the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
That's the one area I think they can match it well, the size against the Golden State Warriors. But the beauty of Memphis Grizzlies, you also got to be able to take advantage of your size. Patty Mills switched on Jaren Jackson a lot. And I saw him having Tim float to the three-point line. He's a fantastic shooter, but at 6'11", at some time you're going to have to put him on the block and let him take advantage. And before Patty Mills, they had Keldon Johnson. Good defender, strong, but he's 6'4", 6'5". You got to use that size. And also for the Memphis Grizzlies, to win basketball games, at the end of games, close games, you got to shoot better free throws. They were atrocious at the line tonight.
If you're coaching this team and you know that you have a 20-plus point lead, you see that lead disappear, but you do hold on to the win. What are the positives? What are the negatives of weathering a storm like that?
Well, but in the playoffs, there's no negatives when you win. You don't even get caught up in the, we were up 20, they came back and it was a close game. You do that in the regular season. Playoffs, it's win and go on to the next game, because these games are so hard, and you do know this. The other team, when you get them down 20, me and Smitty was sitting there saying, oops, San Antonio's going to come back. Mm-hmm. We knew it when they was getting blown out, because human nature. The team that's ahead kind of takes their foot off the gas. The team that's down, they play harder. So they got back in the game. But at the end of the day, San Antonio just didn't have enough talent, and then just didn't have enough. They didn't play San Antonio-style basketball. Smith, I don't even feel like they gave themselves a proper chance to win tonight.
Guys, you know what we're looking at live right now? Don't laugh.
I like that.